Hello there, everybody. And with Fantastic Four out, we might as well talk about the sequel to the Fantastic Four movie that came out in 2005, that being Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer. So I rewatched this movie yesterday in preparation for the new one coming out, and I gotta say, this is an okay sequel from the first one. Not that the first one was amazing or anything, it was decently average. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but this one's just kind of just there. It's just a straightforward sequel to the iconic Fantastic Four. And this time, we get the debut of our first live action Silver Surfer, voiced by the amazing Lawrence Fishburne, and also body type by Doug Jones, who was also in Hellboy. But we also get Galactus in this movie, and we're gonna get into him in a little bit. But this is where the Silver Surfer has come to Earth unexpectedly and is causing some mayhem on Earth and for our characters, as Reed Richards and Susan Storm are about to get married, but their wedding is getting interrupted because of the Silver Surfer. But once he does come to Earth, it causes, the Fantastic Four to somewhat lose their powers, as Johnny tries to fight the Silver Surfer, but he ends up losing his powers, sort of. He ends up switching with the Thing, and he's even happy to be somewhat cured, but he does get his powers back. But it's wild seeing Chris Evans with the Thing's powers. It's wild. But the main thing that just goes on throughout this whole movie is them trying to discover the Silver Surfer, figure out what he is and where he comes from. But the government dude, I forget who he's played by, looking it up, he's played by Andrea Barkin. Sorry if I got his name wrong. Apparently he wanted Reed to figure out what's going on after there's a giant hole in the ground from the Silver Surfer, but once things start going wrong, it just becomes a big fight between the government and the Fantastic Four, even when they switch powers. We also get this scene where Invisible Woman loses her powers. She ends up getting Johnny's powers, and because of that, she ends up losing all her clothes, and she ends up naked. I don't know why these movies are obsessed with Jessica Alba being naked, for whatever reason. I guess because they just think she's hot. But once they do capture the Silver Surfer, apparently it all leads to the return of Doctor Doom, played by Julian Magvin, who, like I said last review, that he passed away not that long ago. Rest in peace. But he's all right in The Rise of Silver Surfer. He just becomes a plot device later when he wants to basically figure out who Galactus is once he does discover the Silver Surfer, and he's wearing his helmet, but he takes it off. This is my nitpick. I don't know why Doctor Doom takes his mask off in this movie. The whole point of Doctor Doom wearing a mask is because he got scarred from the accident the Fantastic Four went on, and because of that accident, he refuses to take his mask off. But in this, he kind of just feels like a regular dude, honestly. But he does get the powers later in the movie. But once Susan meets Silver Surfer, she wants to know why he came to the planet and caused some mayhem, because he's literally causing the water to freeze to death, be still for some reason, and even change the Egyptian pyramids. But he reveals that he had a wife and wanted to be with her, but she died apparently because of Galactus. But once he does see Susan, he can just relate to her. But I don't know much about the Silver Surfer. He always looked cool to me with his board, but I just don't know much about the character. But his CGI look just looks okay. Just that that Silver Surfer just looks weird, honestly. I'm really curious what they're going to do with the female Silver Surfer in the new one, since I think that's a completely different character from the main one. But we just have to wait and see. But when we do see Galactus later in the movie, this is the big downgrade of this movie. Galactus is just a cloud. We do see a little shadow of him, but being a cloud is just, it's so lame. And I get Galactus is super hard to do in film, but they really could have just done a CGI Galactus. But instead they just did a cloud. I heard he is the villain of the new movie. I hope they get him right, but I'm going to try to avoid spoilers for the new one. But the Fantastic Four end up going to New York. We even see the iconic ride that the characters ride on. I think you know what I'm talking about, the Fantastic Four jet. But Johnny even wants to ride the thing. But of course, Reed tells them they need to stop after the thing, and Human Torch end up fighting over it. But when they do get to New York, it all leads to a final battle where Susan ends up getting stabbed during the fight because of the cloud becoming too dangerous. And we actually think Invisible Woman was going to die. But of course, because of plot armor, she wasn't actually going to die. But Silver Surfer ends up sacrificing himself to stop Galactus. That's where we do see that little shadow of him, like I mentioned. And Galactus is defeated. And Johnny is finding a way to combine all the Fantastic Four powers to stop Galactus's wave and Doctor Doom. I thought that was a little creative, but the movie just ends with the characters having a wedding, and of course they go with their separate ways from the wedding, and it just ends quickly. And the Fantastic Four go on their next journey. So that's Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Silver Surfer. The cast is pretty decent for this movie. It's wild that Chris Evans, a couple years later, would finally get to play Captain America. Michael Chiklis was really good in Gotham. The other actors, they probably did some good things. They're all very talented actors, but they're just not given too much to do. As the Fantastic Four, in my opinion, it just felt like it could have been a lot better than it. Just felt super cheesy to watch. There was even a party scene earlier in the movie. We even saw a Stan Lee cameo, which I forgot to mention earlier. I thought his cameos was nice. But overall, the Fantastic Four: The Rise of Silver Surfer was definitely disappointing because of Galactus, and Silver Surfer could have been developed a lot better. And I'm really curious what Fantastic Four First Step's going to do. It's probably going to have the typical MCU formula, but I'll just have to wait and see, because I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy it, since I am enjoying the MCU. Some stuff worked for me and some stuff isn't, but I'm so happy the MCU finally has the Fantastic Four. And this was an okay start to the Fantastic Four with these two Fox movies, and we wouldn't get a Fantastic Four movie for a little while until 2015. Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that movie. For sure. I've already reviewed it with Little Blue. Go check out our video on that. But I probably give this movie probably just a 5 out of 10. But what do you think of Fantastic Four: The Rise of Silver Surfer? So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.